stock do to you?
It's tough because then it changes. Kill the chicken?
Can't tell. Spot me. I have no recall control with that one muffle proof.
On the chicken. Try that big plate 3. Oh, that shit's still on.
Yeah, you put it almost exactly on the top. Alright, spotter ready.
Number 2 with what and you see where you hit it?
It's MOA or Mills?
The right and left back. Mills, because MOA's for morons.
Yeah, come on.
Alright. Send it. Send another one. One with a small. Oh, really? Alright, so let me read that. We'll zero you. We're going to get you dope, and then we'll have to get stuff in. But get.
All right, guys. So looks like I got really lucky with this load development, and I found a good load on my second trip out to the range. So let me go through the results here. So basically, like I said, I was firing 2-shot groups once I got closer to max, and I was working my way up very quickly here from 66 grains up to 70 grains. I was just doing half grain increments. And you can see that there were some accuracy nodes here. So the two accuracy nodes that I found were right around 71 grains. Okay. So 71.2 grains, I shot a half-inch group at 100 yards, and I had a really tight spread here. You can see my first shot was 28.95, and my second shot was 28.93, and I got a half MOA group on that one. And at 70.9, my velocity was very similar to 71.2. You can see how it jumped up from 70.6 to 70.9. 70.9, it was at 29.21. And then 71.2, I was right around 2,900. So I think there's a accuracy node here right around the 71 grain mark, plus or minus maybe 1 or 2 grains. And then I kept working my way up. I didn't get any pressure signs at all. Even when I got up to 72.3, I got no pressure signs at all. I think I could probably go even more if I wanted to. I could probably go to 72.4, 72.6 easily. So I didn't see any pressure signs at all. I don't think I'm going to go beyond 72.3 because I'm already up to 2950, so 100 feet per second faster than the choice ammunition load that I was trying to duplicate. So I blew that one away and left it in the dust. So 100 feet per second faster than the choice ammunition load. And I had a really, really nice group at 72.2 grains. Actually, I had two nice groups at 72.2. I had basically a hole in hole or a hole to hole group. So the first 2-shot group, the bullet holes were in the same hole basically. Okay, one hole in the other. And then the second 2-shot group, the holes were basically touching. So I guess that would be like a quarter MOA accuracy. And then I had another 2-shot group and I got half MOA. So there is definitely an accuracy node at 72.2. Okay, so this was basically a ladder test. I was doing a ladder test with the velocities to see which grain weights would have the most stable velocities. That's how you can find a node. And then another way to find a node is to fire groups at different charge weights. And surprisingly, at 72.2, with a coal of 3.380 inches, I got hole to hole groups or hole in hole groups. So I think that's what I'm going to settle on. I got really lucky. I didn't even have to play around with the seating depth. I was going to actually do that after this test. I was going to pick one of these groups of loads here, like 70.9 to 71.2, and I was going to play around with seating depth starting at 3.34, which is the SAMI seating depth, and then going up a little bit at maybe 5 or 10 thousandths increments. Now, these bullets, they like a long jump, they like a quarter-inch jump. So I wasn't going to really go too far out, but I wanted to go out just a little bit and see what would happen. And it actually happened that the way that Barnes recommends in their load manual to seat the bullet to 3.36, I was actually having problems doing that because I would lose grip on the bullet because at 3.36, the case mouth was inside of the last groove. Those grooves, those pressure release grooves that they cut into the bearing surface of the bullet, the case mouth was like right in the middle of that, and I was losing grip on the bullet, and I had to crimp it into that groove. I wasn't planning on crimping into that groove, but I said, let me crimp into that groove, and that brought the overall length to 3.38, and I did that for all of these cartridges. I just kept it standard 3.38 plus or minus a few thousand. So I basically crimped it into that final pressure release groove, and I used it as a canalure basically, even though that's not what it's really made for, but I used it as a canalure. And man, my rifle just loves it with 72.2 grains of Ramshot Hunter. Absolutely amazing. So it looks like I far exceeded my expectations. I thought I wouldn't even get 2850 based on the load data and my short barrel. I was just worried I wasn't even going to barely get 2800, and I was afraid that my groups were going to suck. But as you see, I got 2950 without any pressure signs and hole in hole accuracy. Okay. So I got really lucky, guys. I might play around a little bit with some of the seating depths in the future just to see what else would happen with some lighter charge weights. But this is basically going to be my new do all hunting and SHTF hand load for my Ruger M77 Hawkeye Alaskan. Okay, 72.2 grains of Ramshot Hunter, seated out to 3.380 inches. Okay, my rifle just seems to love it. Now, keep in mind, guys, you can't use these same numbers, okay, because everybody has a different chamber on their rifle. Everybody has different chamber dimensions. So you need to work up your own ladder test. You need to work up from a starting load and work your way up. Okay, follow the load data. This is coming straight from Barnes. Okay, so I used the Barnes data. All right, but don't just jump right to 72 grains or 71 grains because you might hit pressure at that. I didn't hit any pressure, and I got all the way up to 72.3 and I had no pressure. All right, and I got 2950 average velocity with 6 shots at 72.2. So that is just amazing. I am so happy. I exceeded my expectations by far. So this is really good news. It made my week. And what I'm going to do before I conclude my load development is I'm also going to take some shots at long range just to confirm the accuracy at long range and test it out. I have no doubt that the accuracy will be good. I just need to find a day that's not super windy so it doesn't affect the accuracy measurement. But I'm really satisfied with this load development. So this is going to be my new do all SHTF and hunting load. And the reason why I chose the LRX is because it's a solid copper bullet. Yeah, I can't get as much velocity as if I were to use a jacketed bullet, but I get a lot more penetration, 25% more penetration at all ranges with the LRX, and the LRX is much easier to find than AccuBonds or other bonded bullets. So for me, the LRX is the way to go, especially for SHTF and as a general purpose hunting load where I might need more penetration rather than expansion. You know, if I have to, let's say, shoot through a engine block or something, or punch through some kind of material, anti-material, um, or if I'm hunting brown bear in Alaska, or if I'm just hunting caribou in Alaska, but I run into a brown bear. Okay, those LRX bullets will penetrate as much as a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, and they'll penetrate that much at 1,000 yards. And I have 1,000-yard penetration test with that choice ammunition load, and it's going to be coming out on my channel this week, so stay tuned for that. 1,000 yards with that choice ammunition, 175 grain LRX. So we'll see how deep it's going to penetrate, but I have no doubt it's going to penetrate really deep. But that's pretty much it for this load development. I might post a follow-up video after I do some long-range testing, and if I do post that video, it will be a part 3. And you can find part 1 in my 300 WinMag playlist. You can also find part 1 in my reloading playlist. I'm going to put all of these load development videos that I do in my reloading playlist. So check it out. All my reloading content is there. All my 300 WinMag content is in my 300 WinMag playlist. I have penetration tests. I've shot at sheet metal, plywood, lumber. I've used AccuBonds, Barnes X bullets, penetrators. I mean, I've done all kinds of testing. I've done velocity testing. So check out my 300 WinMag playlist. And that's pretty much it for this one. So stay tuned for a possible part 3. But this was a huge success. I'm really happy. And that's all I got for now. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.